Always great catching up with Cortney Casey, who's got another fight coming up here at UFC Fight Night on August 21st. Courtney, how's it going? Looks like life's going pretty well with that nice background in the pool and everything.
Yeah, things are going well. The chickens are out running around. Hopefully they don't hop on the table or anything. But yeah, things are good.
That's awesome. How long you had chickens?
I think like almost 2 years.
Really?
We got it about right when we moved in the house. Dre was like, I want some chickens. And I was like, okay. And then next thing you know, we had chickens. Well, I had chickens. I ended up getting 4 chickens.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, for some reason this never came up in our interview, so that's good. You must get like fresh eggs all the time, right?
Yeah, we get fresh eggs. We normally get 3. If we get 4, it's a good day if all of them lay. But yeah, it's nice to have fresh eggs.
That's awesome. Free eggs every week. Like I eat eggs all the time, so that would be a good idea. Okay, that's cool.
It's a good chore for King. You know what I mean? Like to go in there and feed him,
teach him. Yeah, some chores early on. I like that. That's good. Okay, we'll talk about him in a bit because I know it was his birthday recently. Let's talk about this matchup though. Did you get a lot of notice for this one? Because I saw it kind of just creeped up. Did you get a full camp for this fight?
Yeah, I got a full camp and everything for this one, so I was happy about that. I thought it was a good matchup, and I had plenty of time to prepare for it. So, hopefully things go as planned.
I know you wanted to get back in there pretty quickly after the last fight, which, by the way, and I know this doesn't make a difference, but I don't know if you know, 15 media members scored the fight for you against JJ Aldrich. So I know a lot of people felt like it should have gone your way. Losses suck, but does that make it a little bit better knowing that most people thought you won?
I mean, I feel like that happens a lot. A lot of the media, a lot of people think that I win fights, and it just doesn't happen when it comes to the judges. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I still have a loss next to my name, and that sucks. You don't have really any bargaining power when you have L's next to your name. So, I mean, as long as the fans are enjoying the fight, then I'm okay. But at the end of the day, you got to get wins next to your name. And so that's what we're looking to do come August 21st. Was
there anything you took away from that performance that you're bringing into this fight?
Man, I really don't know. I thought I did enough. It's really hard. It's been really frustrating to try to figure out the judges. You know what I mean? I didn't take any damage on the ground this time. I got up. I did all the damage, pretty much all the damage standing. And I landed more strikes on the ground too. I don't know. I really don't know. At the end of the day, it really comes down to I got to get a finish.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. If I don't get a finish, then who knows what's going to happen. And looking at past fights, it's normally not going in my favor. So we're going to try to go in there and get the job done within the 15 minutes.
Let's talk about your opponent here. 8-4 record. What do you know about her? How do you feel like you match up against her here?
I know she's a pretty decent striker. She has like a Muay Thai and like a judo wrestling kind of background. She's shorter than me, but she's really thick and strong. So we feel like she's just going to go out there and use her hands, but get in there to get the clinch, to get the fight to the ground, which most of the girls are trying to do against me anyways. So we just really we worked a lot on footwork and movement and things like that for this camp. She's fought some tough. I mean, she fought Barber-Maverick and a couple other good girls, like with good names. She didn't get the outcomes that she wanted, but it's not like she's going in there and getting like beat up real bad. I mean, she did get caught in that Maverick fight and stuff like that, but I don't know. I really don't know a lot about her, but that's what I do know about her, and we know kind of what we think her game plan is going to be. So that's we just kind of really worked on what we were going to do to address those issues, and we figured that footwork and movement was going to be the best thing for that.
Do you look at that Maverick fight and say, hey, maybe I can cut her up as well? Like just, because maybe there's some scar tissue. I don't know. Is that something you've thought of in terms of the matchup?
Not really. You know what I mean? Not really. We're just planning on hitting her. And if things open up, they open up, but I definitely know she's going to go in there and probably protect it a little bit more than normal. She might, it's her first fight back from, I think she ended up having to get surgery on her nose or something too. So, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're definitely going in there planning on to put the pressure on and hit her and make her uncomfortable.
Anything different for this camp? I know in the past, or at least your last fight as well, last couple camps, it's been a lot of just, different places working on specific things. Is that sort of how you've kept it for this camp as well?
Yeah, that's kind of how I kept it. I thought my camp went well. You know what I mean? I was fit. I was in shape. My hands looked good. Everything seemed good, so I didn't want to change it just because of the outcome of the fight, I just added a little bit more, a little bit more wrestling, a little bit more jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. Been working a lot with Tanquinho and also with Tim Welch and going there and just getting another extra day of that kind of training in. And then, we just pretty much kept everything the same.
Who are some other training partners you've had a chance to work with?
Obviously Jakar, I've worked a little bit with Shug, and that's pretty much about it. Like I kept everything the same, but there's a girl who's fighting for Combates. She's a 115. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But I've been working with her as well, and she's a good up and comer at 115. So been working with her, and then just kind of grinding and getting the job done.
For sure. And I've heard that from a lot of fighters, that they actually like training with, like, not in her case because she's not an amateur, but training with amateurs or up and comers, because you don't get that ego. You get people that are, also trying to prove themselves as well, and they can sometimes make better training partners. Do you find that as well sometimes, that sometimes when you're training with these up and comers that you get some quality training?
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely like training with, the smaller guys that are up and coming, because they really want to push themselves. And I feel like it brings more out of me as well when I have someone that's going, you know what I mean? If you have someone that's going, you kind of got to pick up your pace. You got to be more aware of things. But if you have someone in there who's, they're making money and they don't want to really, they don't want to get hurt and stuff like that in training. So they're not really going 100% or even close to 100%. And the pace is a lot slower and things are more cautious. It doesn't feel, like I'm getting a lot out of it. I know there's times when we do drilling, but when it comes to sparring and things like that, I need someone that's going to go so I can push myself, or else I know I'm going to be in a different pace when it comes fight time. So I like training with those up and comers a lot.
What's the latest with Jakar? I know, unfortunately, what happened at the weigh-ins with his fight with Jeremy Stephens. Not a lot of remorse on his end either, because I asked him about it, and I was expecting him maybe to be like, okay, I made a mistake, whatever, but not a lot there. I know Jakar's sort of past that at this point, but is he still on the shelf, or is he looking to get back in there? What's the latest with him?
He's still on the shelf, actually. His eyes ended up being off and things like that, so he had to go and get therapy for that. They put him on a nerve medicine, and he actually, like, that's where he's at right now, is at therapy. But yeah, they're saying November when he can actually start getting hit in the head, and that's if everything stays on course. He's always constantly at the house doing like weird eye things with like
hand eye stuff. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
And like squares, and like he's doing everything he needs to do. It's just, it's going to take time, and they really don't know. Like, they put a time frame on, but they can't really, know for sure. Because
it was like the equivalent of getting like whiplash in a car, like from what happened, because it was just so unexpected, and your body reacts differently when something like that happens, right? Like, which was so dumb, by the way. I know actually a lot of people did come to his defense, but then you have the idiot fans as well. Oh, he got pushed. How's he out of the fight? Like, how did you both deal with that? Because you get a lot of stupid fans who, want to jump to conclusions when things like that happens.
I mean, I've dealt with a lot of that stuff. This is the first time I think Dre's kind of dealt with that. He was pretty upset, kept contemplating like, man, should I have fought? And I'm like, no, like, you did the right thing. Like,
of course.
I mean, they're trying to get medicine, like, you're not even out of bed, and they're trying to give you medicine, headache medicine, pain medicine, all this stuff just to get you to fight, when it's not like it's your hand or your wrist or, your knee or your foot that's hurt, and you're just trying to get through that and taking some medication to kind of get you through the fight. Like, it's your head. So I think once it finally settled in, like, he was okay with the decision he made. Like, he really didn't care. Like, and especially going to see the doctors and then getting the more x-rays, and he's like, man, I really did make the right decision, because this could have ended up badly for me. Yeah. But yeah, it was just one of those weird situations. And, from what the doctors have said, and when they watch the video, because they, will show it to them because they want to kind of know what happened. And we're like, well, we actually have it on film. And a lot of doctors are like, well, like, your hands are behind your back. So it's like, normally when you get pushed, you have your arms to like help. But since his hands are behind his back, his neck took all the pressure.
That's true. Yeah.
And everything. So, and that's how he ended up with that pinched nerve in his neck. And so hopefully things go good. We have some doctors saying like, we don't know, we might need surgery. We have other doctors like, it could just take some time. Let's put some epidurals and some things in it. And so we're just day by day, you know.
Wait and see. Yeah, send him my best. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, man, what a bummer. Because I know how much he was looking forward to it as well, fighting Jeremy, just a veteran. And, it seemed like there was some bad blood as well. It could have been a great fight, and it just sucks what happened. So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what happened. But yeah, we're just hoping he gets better so we can get back in there.
Will Jakar be in your corner for this fight, or do you have someone else in there?
No, he is going to be in my corner for this fight.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay, great. And then who else will be in the cage with you that night?
I'm going to have Casey Kenny in my corner as well. And then I have Alan Veras, but I'm not sure he got sick. So we're just hoping it's regular sick and not like COVID sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll find out here in a couple of days. But yeah, so the same thing corners as my last fight.
How's this fight playing out on August 21st?
Getting a win, man. I'm getting a win. I'm going to go in there and do literally everything I need to do. And like I said, like the goal and everything for this camp is like, we're going to get the job done within the 15 minutes. So we're definitely going to push the pace and set a tone and keep that tone the entire fight.
What happened?
Hey, baby.
Oh, we have a guest?
Oh, we have a guest. The new and improved 3-year-old.
How was his birthday? How was your birthday, buddy?
Was it good? Yeah. We're going to the lake for his birthday this weekend, so we're going to have another birthday bash on Saturday. So
That's
he's
good.
pretty excited about that.
He must be a good swimmer with that swimming pool in the backyard.
You a good swimmer? Yeah.
That's good. He's a lot quieter than his dad. I'm sure that'll come in time, so that's good. But yeah. my son's the same way. He's camera shy when that happens and stuff.
I know. So. Now he's like, I want to go in the pool.
Yeah, so that's cool. So 2 birthdays. What a lucky kid. My kid got, what did he do? Actually, his birthday's coming up in September. So he just turned 3, right?
Just turned 3 on Monday.
That's right, because they're a year apart. My son's going to be 4 in September. So it's pretty crazy, the timelines and all that. How many more fights do you have left on your contract? I think we talked about this last time, but I was trying to get a refresher.
I have 1 more after this.
Okay, gotcha. So then next fight, then you'll look to renegotiate and all that as well, too. But this is something we talked about, though, because, like, you're in a good spot because, like, they like watching you fight. You know that you bring it, so that must feel a little bit better as opposed to some of the fighters that, just eke out a decision. Like, at least with your fights, it's entertaining. And I know even in the losses you've had, you've talked about this where it's not, like, you're trying to be entertaining, maybe the opponents aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Normally you negotiate after 3. So I would have negotiated this fight. So we got to see how this fight plans out. I get it. It's a business side. I'm officially a 500 fighter. So I can see, either way how things go. I don't know, like I'm really trying not to focus on that kind of an outcome. Yeah. I'm trying to go in there and get the job done and do what I always do and put on a show for the fans. And hopefully that's enough for the UFC. Get another win under my belt and then renegotiate, before I have to take that 4th fight and see how that one plays out. So, I feel like I've done a lot in both divisions. I fought a lot of good girls. I fought a lot of people on short notice, and I really haven't been finished except for, that Robinson fight. And I don't know. It's a shitty situation, considering, there's girls out there that are barely getting by, or they're getting beat up and still in the UFC and things like that. So I'm lucky to be where I'm at considering my record. But at the same time, like, I feel like I can continue. I'm like right there with everyone. You know what I mean? Some of those split decision losses could have gone my way and I could have been on a 4-fight win,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. That's just it too.
What ifs, but what ifs really don't do you justice, when you're trying to bargain on your job with people who are trying to make as much money as they can, so I understand where they come from as a business standpoint for the UFC, but at the same time I feel like as a fighter I've done my job and I've done it quite well.
Yeah. So, and just to clarify, so you have this fight and then 1 more after, right? Just to make sure my math's good. Okay. That's kind of what I figured there. Because one thing I know you've mentioned to me before, and I'll just bring it up, is that I know you and Jakar have talked about extending the family. I know from your vantage point, and this is something we've talked about, it's fight to fight. See how the fight goes, kind of plan from there, and then you can figure out things after that. But I know the predicament you're in. I understand. So
yeah, it's a rough one, but
got to do it.
It's a game we play.
Speaking of, fights in your division, what did you think of the Miranda-Maverick and Macy-Barber fight? Because a lot of people felt like Miranda did enough to win, and Macy, maybe she loses that fight. Maybe she's not in the UFC anymore.
I think that's what it comes down to. I feel like it comes down to the fact that she can't lose 3 in a row. Same kind of scenario with the Waterson fight with me. You know what I mean? She can't lose 3 in a row. I hate to say those things. I don't feel like it should be that way. I don't know how I don't know, but that was a pretty blatantly bad decision, I thought, in my eyes.
Mhm.
I thought Maverick like definitely won 1 and definitely won 2, and 3, I guess you can give that to, Macy and stuff like that, but definitely 1 and 2, I couldn't really see how they would give it to her. So I was shocked.
Yeah.
Dre has his theory about if someone gets handed that monster can, like, they're winning. So that's his conspiracy theory.
Interesting. That's, well, granted, well, hold on. To be fair, though, I know she is sponsored by Monster, but still, that is very interesting. Yeah.
When she got handed the can, he was like, "Oh, she won." And I was like, "No way!" And he's like, "Yeah, nope, she's
Wow.
going to get that decision," and she ended up getting the decision, which was, shocking. Like, instant. When it happened, it blew up everywhere. Like, so.
Well, there's some weird scorecard, like your friend Kyler Phillips, his fight with Paiva. I thought that should have been a draw. I thought first round 10-8. You could give Paiva the other 2. That should have been a draw, though. I don't think you could have called it because Kyler was this close to finishing him.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. Same thing. I was like, man, it has to be a draw. The other guy dropped him in the second, Kyler in the second, so I can see that. And I was like, man, this is going to be a draw. And then when they gave it to the other guy, I was like, man, that's a little odd. Like, maybe I'll have to go back and rewatch that one. But
and even in the main event, Sandhagen and Dillashaw, I think people felt like Sandhagen did enough. So a little bit of weird judging, but nothing new as something we sort of discussed here today.
It's all about how the judges are going to score the fight. Do they score holding a position, not trying to finish a fight, but just trying to almost stalemate the fight as being in a dominant position? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. Like, I was talking to someone the other day, like, if I'm standing and fighting someone and they don't like it and they choose to take me down to the ground, but they're only holding me, are they really trying to win, or are they just trying to be safe?
Yeah.
And like, how do you play that? And that's where I think it gets frustrating and gets hard for fighters. And I feel for Sandhagen, man. I really do feel for that guy.
Yeah, exactly, because he had a title shot out of it, even though I know he's lost to Sterling. But still, I think that was the indication the winner of that fight was going to go on and fight for a title. Here's one theory I have, or not theory, but I think one thing that would make things better. Why are the judges not available to the media? A fighter does an eye poke. A fighter, does something illegal. They have to answer to the media because the UFC's like, look, do you want to do a scrum? Or they at least make them available. Judges aren't, though. You have a bad night, you live to see another day. But, with a fighter or something like... usually there's accountability there. So I think that at the very least, at least to hear the judges why they scored it, because, something that I've heard as well is that there's some judges who maybe think the wrong fighter is the fighter they wrote down. They think they're watching a different fighter.
It's crazy. Like, I've always said, like, I get that, they don't want the judges to get like death threats and things like that. But I feel like we should know that these 3 judges are the people who are going to be judging our fight. And after every fight that those guys judge, they should have to put out their scorecard and why they scored that cage control, out of the, the 3 things. I did cage control, I did pressure, it was damage. Okay, so we know Sally likes to, she's more of a damage kind of person, and Rob likes, the ground and pound and the control, and, Steven's a pressure guy. All right, at least I know now going into my fight, I have these 3 judges, so I know what they're looking for. So at least I can play a little bit. But when we have no idea how these guys are judging, or what they're judging on, or even what they like to judge on, like, it's just up in the air every time. And I know that's like, hey, don't leave the fight, to the hands of the judges. But you have 2 people that train their entire lives to fight each other, to survive. Like, getting finishes is a big thing, you know what I mean? Because you have someone that's trying to finish you, but also knows how to defend themselves. So when you finish someone, that's a big thing. But when you get these close fights, like, you want to have someone that knows what they're talking about, or at least know this is how someone judges it, so you can kind of game plan.
Yeah. No, well said. We could do a whole podcast on this, I'm sure. Really appreciate the time, Cortney. I'm taking you away from pool time with Kings. So in the meantime, anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
Definitely 8-Man, for everything that they do for us and the community. Zebra Mats, X Endurance, one of the best supplement companies I've ever worked with. Active Health, Joe Cooperman over at Active Health, Legendary Athletics. And, that's really about it.